Okay, this man, I like this guy.
I'm from White Plains. Amen. Okay? We have a problem in this country. It's called Muslims. We know our current president is one.
Right.
You know he's not even an American.
We need this
Birth
question. This is
certificate,
the
man.
first question.
But anyway, we have training camps growing where they want to kill us.
Mm-hmm.
That's my question. When can we get rid?
All right, get rid of them. Joining us now is Bill Kristol, founder and editor of the Weekly Standard, ABC News contributor. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you. All right, so of course Donald Trump getting criticism all over the place today for the way he handled that. He didn't do what John McCain did in '08, which was say, no, he's a good man, he's an American, he's not a Muslim, he's a Christian. He went on to say, we're going to look into a lot of things. Your take on that whole scenario?
You know, I think it's tough. You get one of these questions, and I've given some speeches and get questions. Not too many like that, and you're not sure. You just ignore it, or do you rebut it? I think if you're running for president, you probably should have the the wit to think, in a way, what you might ignore at a cocktail party where someone says something foolish or even slightly offensive, and just kind of move on. That's not the case when there are cameras whirring and everyone's covering you as the leading presidential candidate right now in the Republican Party. So I think he should have done what McCain did. Yeah.
All right, interesting. Now, of course, the new poll out today, as I alluded to at the very top here, shows it's a Morning Consult poll. Trump went up in the post-debate poll from 33 to 36. Carson went down from 17 to 12, and Carly went up from 3 to 10. So what do you make of that?
Well, I thought Fiorina really had an excellent debate, and it's funny, someone who's running for office. So those three, I guess now are the top three in that poll, I assume, and the three who've never been elected to anything, two of them never run for anything. Whatever you think of them, and I have different views of each of the three. I'll get to that in a minute. It is kind of stunning that the three non-elected politicians so far, at least, have been better candidates than the actual elected senators and governors. And I do think I think the senators and governors, I've got to say, have underperformed, or maybe in the case of Rubio, performed adequately. Cruz maybe too, but they just haven't really stepped up their game. They kind of went. Everyone said, okay, it's spring training now. They're really going to come. It's the regular season now. They're really going to take it up a notch, and they haven't. I think that's one thing that's contributed to the success of all three of those. I thought Trump did not have a good debate, but I've learned you can't predict where people bounce up and down in polls just because of your own views of the debate. I do think Carson, though, he had such a huge surge in August and early September. A lot of people attracted to him. Very decent man, very impressive biography, obviously. And I suspect a lot of them hadn't really seen him much, though, or they'd seen him give one speech. And seeing him on the debate stage, a long debate, 2 3/4 hours, a lot of different questions, a lot of different topics, you didn't come, and I like Ben Carson, I know him a little bit. You didn't come away from that thinking, gee, this guy should be, is ready to be president, honestly, I don't think. So I'm not surprised Carson went down. I'm not surprised Fiorina went up. Fiorina showed real skill, and she had some planned lines that she used effectively. They didn't look planned. She was good at transitioning into them off what was happening in the debate. It's, for someone, as I say, who's run once and lost, she has an awful lot of candidate skills.
You have defended Trump in the past on this show. We made some news out of it and along the way. But correct me if I'm wrong, you said the other day that if Trump were the nominee of the Republican Party, you would consider backing a third-party candidate.
If it were a more reliable conservative. Look, I just don't think I think Trump has been useful in the race in some ways, not so useful in others, but I found the whole defended him against his critics, because I thought his critics didn't want to come to grips with how unhappy a lot of voters, not just really conservative voters, incidentally, but a lot of voters around the country are with the state of the country, how much they want things to change, how much they want someone committed to winning in our foreign policy in the White House. I think there are a lot of useful lessons to be learned from Trump. I don't think he should be president, and I really would have trouble. I would not vote for a Democrat, but I'm not certain would depend what would happen over the next year, that I could vote for Trump over the Democrat. I might vote for, and I was joking around sort of, and I said I'd vote for the Dick Cheney, Tom Cotton third-party ticket. But I don't want Trump to be the nominee, honestly. I just don't think I don't know how electable he would be, and B, I'm not convinced he has the temperament to be president.
But Bill, this is important because you're a mover and a shaker, whether you want to admit it or not. So let me try to be clear. If Trump's the nominee and it's Trump and Hillary, and there is no third-party candidate, would you pull the lever for Trump?
I don't know. I'd really want to see how he performed and how his character had developed over the year, and also what kind of commitments he was making in terms of Supreme Court appointments and all kinds of other
Would you
issues.
ever pull it for Hillary?
No.
Okay, so if there's no third party, you might sit it out. But if there was another conservative running as a third party, you would look at that as a possibility if it were Trump.
Yeah, obviously it would become a tactical question, and maybe Trump would do well enough and convince me that he's not quite as much of a bull in a china shop as I thought. Bulls in china shops are useful when you want to break the china. At some point, you do need to sort of sell the china, to use that metaphor, or something, or sell something, or have a shop, you know. And I guess, look, he could grow, he could change. I don't mean to rule it out, but I'm dubious that he's the best the Republican Party can do.
I want to ask you about Ann Coulter, who felt the need to tweet out some things during the debate. She took exception to the fact that Mike Huckabee, she said, what is he, running for Prime Minister of Israel? And then she went further and said that three of them, I think Huckabee, Cruz, and someone else, mentioned Israel when asked about what the future of the United States looks like. And she said, how many effing Jews are there in this country anyway? My view is she missed the point. First of all, she said they were pandering to Jews. They were, if anything, they were pandering to evangelical Christians. But that kind of tweet, that kind of language, I just think it's inexcusable. Now she's saying that the only people who are objecting to this, she told the Hollywood Reporter, are mostly Israel-hating liberals. Well, I'm far from that, and so are you.
I am. I haven't bothered to comment on it because I don't feel the need to comment on all of it.
Well, do it now.
Tweets, but since you asked, no, it's stupid and offensive, and she knows better and should know better, and her alleged, just as you say, the point about Huckabee is very pro-Israel, and he's not Jewish. Last I looked, I don't know that anyone on that stage is Jewish,
no.
And I don't know that there are a heck of a lot of Jewish voters in Republican primaries in some of these key, caucus and primary states, Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. I'm sort of looking for that huge Republican Jewish vote that they're supposedly pandering to. Republicans are very pro-Israel. And you know what? It is a legitimate thing to be pro-Israel, and it is legitimate to ask a presidential candidate what his views are on the U.S.-Israel relationship. So, I mean, the idea that this is somehow out of bounds or pandering is just silly. I don't know if she'd had. Maybe she was just in a bad mood or something, and I've got to think she regrets it, but she's being stupidly stubborn and not saying that she regrets it.
Yeah, she should. She's doubling down. Hey, Bill, have an easy fast. Speaking of the Jewish New Year and the holiday of Yom Kippur coming up next week, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much for all you do for us, sir.
Well, you too, Stephen. Thanks.
All right, take care. Bill Kristol, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting. Yeah, maybe she was in a bad mood. That's one possibility. There are other possibilities. I'll leave it to your imagination. Maybe we'll ask the Malzberg panel. They're coming up next. Don't go away.